The massive doors of the Galactic Council chamber hissed open as Commander Daeho Kim walked inside. His human footsteps echoed softly on the crystal floor while massive alien beings towered around him. The Valkyrie delegate's forearms gestured wildly as it argued with the insect-like Thraxian representative. Their voices boomed through the chamber like thunder. Daeho took his small seat in the back corner. The human section was barely noticeable compared to the grand platforms where the major powers sat. Most council members forgot humans were even present during meetings. This suited Daeho perfectly. The Thraxian Empire demands more mining rights in the Outer Rim, declared Ambassador Zethrax, his mandibles clicking with anger. Your people have taken enough worlds already. The Valkyrie delegate Korthak slammed two of his massive fists on his platform. We need those resources for our new battle cruisers. The war with the hegemony requires more ships. Daeho watched the argument with calm eyes. For over 200 years, these ancient races had fought the same wars. They built bigger ships, conquered more worlds, and demanded more resources. Meanwhile, humanity quietly traded with everyone and asked for very little. His wrist communicator buzzed softly. A message appeared in Korean. Kepler site at 78% completion. Mars facility ahead of schedule. Daeho touched the device twice to acknowledge the message, then deleted it. To anyone watching, it looked like he was checking the time. What about the humans? Asked Counselor Vexhai, a tall being covered in blue scales. They have purchased 17 dead worlds in the past year. What do they plan to do with worthless rocks? All eyes turned to Daeho. He stood slowly and bowed respectfully. Honored counselors, we use these worlds for farming experiments. Earth's population grows every year and we need more food sources. Several aliens made sounds that might have been laughter. The Thraxian delegate clicked his mandibles dismissively. Humans and their obsession with agriculture. At least they stay out of real politics. Yes, agreed Korthak. They are useful traders but weak fighters. Their ships are slow and carry farming equipment instead of weapons. Daeho nodded humbly. We prefer peace to war, honored ones. Our ships carry seeds, not missiles. The council returned to arguing about territory and weapons. Daeho sat down and pretended to take notes. In reality, he was thinking about the message. 78% completion meant they were ahead of schedule. Dr. Bo Rashin's team had done excellent work converting the planet's core. After the meeting ended, Daeho walked through the station's corridors. Alien beings of all shapes and sizes moved around him. Most ignored the human completely. A few nodded politely, remembering him as the quiet trader who never caused trouble. He entered a small cafe and ordered human coffee. The alien server looked confused but managed to prepare something brown and hot. While waiting, another message arrived. Admiral Park requests urgent meeting. New intelligence from deep space. Daeho finished his coffee quickly and headed to the human diplomatic quarters. The rooms were small and simple compared to other species' grand suites. He walked past the reception area where his assistant, Ms. Hyrin Jo, typed reports about trade agreements. Any important calls? He asked. Just the usual trade requests, sir. The Centauri merchants want to buy more Earth steel. Accept their offer. We need to maintain normal business relationships. Daeho entered his private office and locked the door. He activated a hidden console behind his desk. The screen showed Admiral Kangmin Park's weathered face. Admiral, Daeho said quietly. What's the urgent news? Deep space sensors detected something moving in the dark zone, Park replied. Initial reports suggest it's not natural. Our scientists think it might be the old threat returning. Daeho felt a chill run down his spine. The old threat. The reason humanity had started this massive project 20 years ago. Ancient records found in buried alien ruins had warned of something terrible sleeping in dark space. Something that had destroyed civilizations millions of years ago. How much time do we have? Daeho asked. Unknown. Could be years, could be months. We need to accelerate the timeline. Dr. Shin's team is already working at maximum speed. We can't rush the construction without risking discovery. The galaxy won't be ready when it comes, Park said grimly. Their ships are designed for fighting each other, not this threat. Only our project has a chance of success, Daeho nodded. While the great powers built traditional warships, humanity had chosen a different path. Instead of constructing fleets of small vessels, they were building something unprecedented. Something the galaxy would never expect from the quiet farming species. I'll send orders to all sites, Daeho said. Increase production by 15% but maintain security protocols. Understood. The council suspects nothing? They barely remember we exist. Today they argued about mining rights while calling our worlds worthless rocks. If only they knew what those rocks really are. After ending the call, Deho sat in silence. Outside his window he could see ships from dozens of species docking at the station. Massive Velkari dreadnoughts, swift Thraxian raiders and elegant hegemony cruisers, all impressive vessels by galactic standards. None of them would survive what was coming. He opened another hidden channel and began sending coded messages to 17 different star systems. To outside observers, the messages looked like routine agricultural reports. In reality, they were instructions to accelerate humanity's greatest secret. As night fell on the station, Deho prepared for another day of playing the humble human diplomat. Tomorrow he would sit in the council chamber, nod politely, and let the aliens dismiss humanity as irrelevant. He would smile when they called human worlds worthless and laugh along when they joked about human weakness, while his people worked frantically to save a galaxy that didn't even know it needed saving. The Galactic Council slept peacefully that night, confident in their massive fleets and ancient power. They had no idea that humanity was building something that would change the balance of power forever, something that turned planets themselves into weapons of unimaginable destruction. The quiet species was about to become very loud indeed. Engineer Hyunwoo Lee stood on the observation deck deep inside Kepler 442b, watching massive machines carve away another section of the planet's core. The sight never stopped amazing him. Where solid rock had existed for billions of years, now there was empty space large enough to hold Earth's moon. Temperature readings are stable, reported his assistant, technician Jin-A Park. The cooling systems are working perfectly. Hyunwoo nodded as he checked his tablet. The conversion was proceeding exactly as planned. What the galaxy believed was a simple farming world was actually humanity's most ambitious construction project. They had hollowed out the entire planet and turned it into a shipyard. Above them, a framework of steel and carbon fiber stretched across the empty space. It looked like the skeleton of some impossible creature. When finished, it would be the support structure for weapons powerful enough to crack moons in half. How long until the armor plating arrives? Hyunwoo asked. Captain Choi's transport should dock in 6 hours, Jin-A replied. The orbital station confirms they're carrying the new titanium steel composite. Hyunwoo smiled. Captain Yoonji Choi ran the orbital facilities that hid their construction from galactic surveillance. To any passing ship, Kepler 442b looked like a normal agricultural world. Orbital farms produced real food, human colonists worked in visible fields, and everything appeared peaceful and boring. Nobody suspected that beneath the surface, 10 million humans worked in the largest shipyard ever built, sir, called out another worker from across the chamber. Director Yoon wants to see you in Section C7. Hyunwoo took a transport pod through the planet's tunnel system. The journey took 20 minutes, traveling through passages wide enough for battleships. Emergency lighting cast strange shadows on the walls, making the tunnels look like the inside of some massive creature. He found Director Sung Ho Yoon standing beside a construction site that defied imagination. Workers in environmental suits guided robot arms as they assembled gun barrels the size of skyscrapers. Each weapon was designed to fire projectiles at significant fractions of light speed. Hyunwoo, Yoon called out. We have a problem with the power systems. What kind of problem? The energy requirements are higher than expected. We need to increase reactor capacity by 30%. Hyunwoo frowned. The reactor was already the most powerful fusion system humanity had ever built. It drew energy from the planet's own core using techniques developed from studying alien technology. Can we modify the existing design? He asked. That's what I want you to figure out. We can't build a bigger reactor without excavating more of the core. Too much digging might destabilize the planet. Hyunwoo studied the technical readouts on Yoon's tablet. The numbers were staggering. When fully operational, this single planet ship would consume more energy than entire solar systems. It needed that power to move its massive bulk between stars and fire weapons that could destroy fleets. I have an idea, Hyunwoo said slowly. What if we link multiple smaller reactors instead of building one giant system? We could distribute them throughout the planet's structure. Interesting. That would provide backup power if one reactor fails. Exactly. And we could use the excess heat for the manufacturing systems. Yoon nodded approvingly. Work out the details and send me a report tomorrow. As Hyunwoo walked back through the tunnels, he passed construction sites building different components. One area focused on shield generators that would protect the planet during battle. Another section assembled the massive engines needed to move a world through space. The most impressive site was the Central Command Center. It rose from the planet's core like a metal mountain, housing the computers and control systems needed to operate a mobile world. When finished, it would coordinate the actions of millions of systems across the entire planet. His communicator buzzed with a message from the surface. Agricultural inspection team requesting tour of farming facilities. Thraxian trade delegation wants to see human food production. Hyunwoo forwarded the message to Captain Choi. She would handle the visitors like always, showing them carefully prepared areas that looked like normal farms. The Thraxians would see crops growing under artificial suns, workers tending livestock, and processing facilities making food products. They would never suspect that 90% of the planet had been carved away and replaced with military hardware. Back in his office, Hyunwoo began working on the reactor modification plans. The challenge was enormous, but so was everything about this project. Humanity was attempting something no species had ever tried before, turning entire worlds into weapons of war. The idea had come from studying ancient alien ruins on Earth's moon. Scientists had discovered records of a civilization that faced extinction from some terrible enemy. Their final messages spoke of world ships and planet killers before going silent forever. Humanity had learned from their failure. Instead of building traditional spaceships, they would build something unprecedented. When the ancient threat returned, it would face planets themselves turned into instruments of war. A new message arrived from orbit. Inspection complete. Thraxians, impressed by agricultural efficiency, placed large order for grain products. Hyunwoo chuckled. The aliens had no idea they were ordering food grown on the surface of a planet-sized warship. Every bag of grain they purchased helped fund humanity's secret construction project. As his shift ended, Hyunwoo took one final walk through the central construction area. Night and day had no meaning inside the hollow world. But the work never stopped. Millions of humans labored around the clock, driven by the knowledge that they were building something that might save the galaxy. The framework had grown noticeably since morning. Soon it would support armor plating thicker than mountain ranges. The weapons would be installed next, followed by the shield generators and engine systems. Each component was tested and retested to ensure perfect operation. Above him, through layers of rock and metal, the fake surface of Kepler 442b continued its peaceful existence. Farmers worked their fields, traders conducted business, and everything appeared normal to outside observers. Below the surface, humanity prepared for war on a scale the galaxy had never imagined. 16 other worlds were undergoing similar conversions across human space. Each planet ship would be unique, designed for different roles in the coming battle. Some would carry massive guns for long-range combat. Others would serve as mobile factories or command centers. Together, they would form humanity's answer to an ancient threat that had once consumed entire civilizations. The quiet farming species was building a fleet that would make the galaxy's greatest dreadnoughts look like toys. And they were building it while the rest of the galaxy slept, unaware of the coming storm. General Taeyang-jang floated in zero gravity, watching through the command center's main screen as Ross 128b prepared for its first movement test. The planet looked peaceful from the outside, its blue oceans and green continents hiding the massive engines built into its core. All systems report ready, announced Dr. So Young Huang from the weapons control station. Power levels at maximum, structural integrity confirmed. Captain Jin Hobaek sat in the pilot's chair, his hands resting on controls that had never been used before. No human had ever attempted to fly a planet. The very idea seemed impossible, yet here they were, preparing to do exactly that. Begin the test sequence, Jang ordered. Deep inside Ross 128b, fusion reactors that had been humming quietly for months suddenly roared to life. Energy flowed through conduits the size of subway tunnels, powering systems that could move a world. The planet trembled as forces beyond imagination awakened. Movement detected, reported the sensor operator. Ross 128b is shifting orbit by 0.001 degrees. It was barely noticeable, but it proved the concept worked. Humanity had successfully made a planet move under its own power. The implications were staggering. Excellent work, everyone, Zhang said quietly. Dr. Huang, how are the weapon systems? All primary guns are operational. The main cannon achieved full power during yesterday's tests. She paused, checking her readings. Sir, the energy discharge was visible from 3 star systems away. We told anyone who asked that it was a solar flare. Zhang nodded. Testing planet-sized weapons was nearly impossible to hide completely. Humanity had been forced to conduct trials in remote star systems, disguising the energy signatures as natural phenomena. So far, the deception had worked. Captain Baek, what's your assessment of the mobility systems? Better than expected, sir. The planet responds to commands almost like a regular ship, just much slower. We can achieve interstellar travel, but it will take weeks instead of days. That's acceptable. We're not building racing ships. Through the main screen, Zhang could see other construction sites across the Ross system. Ross 128C was nearly complete, its surface covered in massive shield generators. Ross 128D had been converted into a mobile factory, capable of producing weapons and supplies during long campaigns. Each planet served a specific purpose in humanity's grand strategy. They had studied galactic military tactics for decades, learning how different species fought wars. The ancient powers relied on massive fleets of traditional ships, overwhelming enemies with numbers and firepower. Humanity had chosen a different approach. Instead of building thousands of ships, they were building 17 mobile worlds. Each planet ship could fight entire fleets alone and win. General, called the communications officer, we're receiving a coded transmission from Earth. Put it through to my private channel. Admiral Park's face appeared on Zhang's personal screen. Taeyang, we have confirmation. Deep space sensors detected massive movement in the dark zone. Whatever's coming, it's bigger than we expected. How much bigger? Initial estimates suggest ships the size of asteroids, possibly larger. Traditional galactic fleets won't stand a chance. Zhang felt a cold sensation in his stomach. The ancient records had described a threat that consumed entire civilizations, but the reality might be worse than they had imagined. What's the timeline for completion? Most sites report 6 months until full operational status. Can we accelerate? We're already pushing the limits. Any faster and we risk structural failures. Understood. Continue current pace, but prepare for emergency activation if necessary. After ending the call, Zhang stared at the tactical display showing humanity's secret fleet. 17 points of light marked converted worlds scattered across human space. Each one represented years of work and the hopes of an entire species. Dr. Huang, he called out, I need a full report on our combat capabilities. Yes, sir. Each planet ship carries weapons equivalent to 1,000 traditional battleships. Our main guns can destroy moon-sized targets with single shots. The armor plating is thicker than mountain ranges and can withstand direct hits from antimatter warheads. What about enemy weaknesses? We've analyzed every galactic conflict for the past 2 centuries. Most species rely on energy shields and fast-moving ships. Our weapons are designed to overwhelm shields with raw power, and our armor can absorb hits that would vaporize normal vessels. And the ancient threat? Dr. Huang's expression grew serious. Unknown, sir. We're basing our designs on incomplete records and educated guesses. But if the threat really did destroy advanced civilizations millions of years ago, traditional tactics won't work anyway. Captain Baek looked up from his controls. Sir, we're receiving movement orders from Fleet Command. They want us to relocate to the Vega system for advanced training. Very well. Begin preparation for interstellar travel. The next few hours were spent preparing Ross 128B for its first journey between stars. Systems that had never been tested at full power roared to life. The planet's artificial gravity generators compensated for acceleration forces that would have crushed normal ships. All stations report ready for departure, announced the navigation officer. Take us out, Captain. The sensation of a planet beginning to move was unlike anything any of them had experienced. Ross 128B slowly accelerated away from its star, massive engines pushing against the fabric of space itself. What had been a fixed world for billions of years was now humanity's newest weapon of war. Through the command center's windows, Zhang watched the solar system shrink behind them. In a few days they would reach Vega, where other planet ships were conducting training exercises. Soon, all 17 mobile worlds would gather for the first and hopefully last time. Sir, said Dr. Huang quietly, do you really think we can win? I don't know, Yang replied honestly. But we're the only ones who have a chance. The galaxy's traditional powers are still fighting each other with ships designed centuries ago. They have no idea what's coming. And when they find out about our fleet, they'll probably panic. Imagine their reaction when they discover the quiet farming species has been building planet-sized warships in secret. As Ross 128b continued its journey through space, Zhang thought about the galaxy they were trying to save. Alien civilizations that had dismissed humanity as irrelevant would soon depend on human weapons for survival. Species that had ruled space for millennia would learn that sometimes the smallest voice carried the biggest stick. The ancient threat was coming, but humanity would be ready. While the galaxy slept, they had built something unprecedented. Now they just had to hope it would be enough. In the distance, other points of light began moving between stars. The sleeping giants were awakening, and soon the galaxy would discover what humanity had really been doing all these years. Fleet Admiral Mi-Kyung-nam watched the emergency session of the Galactic Council through her secure communication link. Panic filled the great chamber as representatives from across the galaxy struggled to understand what was happening to their outer colonies, the Helix Nebula. "Colonies have gone completely silent," reported the Velkari delegate, his forearms shaking with fear. "Our fastest ships found nothing but debris and empty space." 3 Thraxian mining worlds were consumed in the outer rim, added Ambassador Zethrax, his usual arrogance replaced by terror. "The attack ships, they were larger than our battle stations." Commander Dae-ho Kim sat in his small human section, pretending to take notes while actually coordinating humanity's response. His calm demeanor stood out sharply against the panic surrounding him. "What did your survivors report?" asked Counselor Vexhai. "There were no survivors," the Thraxian replied grimly. "Entire worlds were stripped down to bare rock in hours. The attacking force showed technology far beyond anything in our databases." Admiral Nam switched to a different channel, showing deep space sensor data. The readings were terrifying. Massive objects moved through dark space at impossible speeds, consuming everything in their path. Each individual ship was larger than the galaxy's biggest space stations. "Admiral," reported Captain Young-sik. "Oh, from his position near the front lines, we have visual confirmation of the enemy fleet." The tactical display showed dozens of geometric shapes moving between stars. Each vessel was a perfect polyhedron made of some dark material that absorbed sensor beams. They moved without any visible engines, defying known physics. "Size estimates?" Nam asked. "The smallest ones are 20 kilometers across. The largest were reading objects over 200 kilometers in diameter." Nam felt her blood turn cold. The ancient records had described machine intelligences that consumed civilizations, but seeing them in reality was far worse than any historical account. Ambassador Wu Jin-han entered the command center carrying urgent messages from Earth. "Admiral, we have authorization to proceed with the Revelation Protocol." "Are you certain? Once we show our hand, there's no going back to hiding." "The analysis is complete. Traditional galactic forces have a 0% chance of survival against this threat. Only our planet ships can match their scale and firepower." Nam nodded grimly. Humanity had spent 20 years preparing for this moment, but she had hoped it would never come. "Open a channel to all human facilities," she ordered. Authorization code, Sleeping Giant. Across 17 star systems, messages began transmitting to converted worlds. Each planet ship received the same orders: prepare for immediate combat deployment. The time for secrecy had ended. On her main screen, Nam watched the Galactic Council descend into chaos. The Velkari delegate was demanding immediate military support from other species. The Thraxians wanted to evacuate their core worlds. Everyone talked at once, creating a cacophony of fear and confusion. "Admiral," reported her communications officer, "the enemy has entered the Centauri system. Colonial Command estimates 6 hours until they reach the inhabited worlds." "How many ships?" 15 of the large class, over 100 smaller vessels. Nam looked at the tactical display showing humanity's hidden fleet. 17 converted worlds were moving into position across the galaxy. Each one carried enough firepower to level continents, but they had never been tested against a real enemy. "Send orders to Captain O. His planet ship will intercept the enemy at Centauri. All other units maintain defensive positions." "Yes, Admiral. The next few hours would determine humanity's fate and possibly the survival of galactic civilization. If their planet ships failed, Nothing else in the galaxy could stop the ancient threat. Commander Day-Ho received a coded message through his diplomatic channels. He stood slowly and addressed the panicking council. "Honored representatives," he said in his usual calm voice, "humanity would like to offer assistance in this crisis." Several aliens turned to stare at him with expressions ranging from confusion to outright dismissal. "What could your species possibly offer?" demanded the Velkari delegate. "Your ships carry farming equipment, not weapons." "We have been preparing for this threat for 20 years, Day-Ho replied simply. The chamber fell silent. Every alien representative stared at the quiet human who had just claimed his species had been preparing for an attack nobody else had predicted. "Impossible," whispered Counselor Vexhai. "How could you know? We found ancient records and buried ruins on Earth's moon. They described a machine intelligence that consumed civilizations millions of years ago. We have been building defenses ever since." "What kind of defenses?" asked Ambassador Zethrax, his mandibles clicking nervously. "Mobile worlds," Day-Ho said quietly. "Planet-sized warships designed specifically to fight this enemy." The council erupted in disbelief and shouted questions. Through the chaos, urgent reports continued arriving from the front lines. "Centauri colonies under attack. Enemy ships have reached the asteroid belt. All defensive fleets have been destroyed." Admiral Nam watched the tactical display as Captain O's planet ship entered the Centauri system. The converted world looked tiny compared to the attacking fleet, but appearances could be deceiving. "Contact established with enemy forces," reported O's communications officer. "They're not responding to any signals." "All weapons ready," announced his tactical officer. "Primary guns charged to full power. Fire at will." Light erupted from the planet ship's surface as weapons the size of skyscrapers discharged their fury. Energy beams powerful enough to crack moons lanced across space, striking the nearest enemy vessel. The ancient machine absorbed the hits without slowing down. Its dark surface glowed briefly, then returned to normal. "No apparent damage," reported the tactical officer. "Enemy vessel maintaining course and speed." Nam's heart sank. If humanity's most powerful weapons couldn't hurt these things, what hope did they have? "Wait!" called O's sensor operator. "I'm detecting internal disruptions in the target. The damage is cumulative. All ships concentrate fire on the lead vessel," O ordered. Multiple beams converged on a single enemy ship. This time the machine's surface began to crack and buckle. After 30 seconds of sustained fire, it broke apart in a brilliant explosion. "Target destroyed," reported the tactical officer. Cheers erupted across the command center, but Nam remained focused on the larger picture. One enemy ship was down, but dozens more continued their advance toward the inhabited worlds. "Captain O, status report. One enemy destroyed, minimal damage to our systems. We can continue engaging." "Understood. Fleet Command is deploying additional units to your position." As the battle raged in the Centauri system, the Galactic Council watched in stunned silence. The humans they had dismissed as weak farmers were fighting machines that had destroyed entire fleets. "How many of these planet ships do you have?" whispered the Velkari delegate. "Enough," Day-Ho replied simply. The ancient threat had returned after millions of years of slumber, but they would find the galaxy was no longer defenseless. Humanity had spent 2 decades preparing for this moment, building weapons that could fight gods and monsters. The real war was just beginning. Supreme Admiral Dong Hyun-cha stood in Earth's command center, watching as his homeworld prepared to reveal its greatest secret. For centuries, Earth had appeared to be nothing more than humanity's peaceful capital. Now it would show the galaxy what it had really become. "All concealment systems offline," reported Dr. Hae-Jin Lim from her console. "Surface modifications are now visible to outside observers." Through the main view screen, Cha watched as Earth's true nature became apparent. What had seemed like normal continents were actually massive armor plates. Mountain ranges opened to reveal weapon emplacements that could destroy fleets. The planet's poles housed engine systems powerful enough to move worlds between stars. "Admiral," called Captain Kyung-Ho Song from the helm, "we're receiving shock transmissions from orbital traffic. The commercial stations are requesting immediate explanation." "Inform them that Earth is now a mobile military platform," Cha replied calmly. "All civilian traffic should maintain safe distances." Across the galaxy, 16 other worlds were dropping their disguises. Agricultural colonies revealed themselves as planet-sized warships. Mining worlds exposed weapon systems that defied imagination. Peaceful trading posts became mobile fortresses bristling with armor and guns. The galaxy's reaction was immediate and explosive. "This is impossible," screamed the Velkari delegate through emergency channels. "How could you hide entire worlds being converted to weapons?" Ambassador Wu Jinhan appeared on the main screen, broadcasting from the Galactic Council chambers. "For 20 years, humanity has prepared for the return of the Devourers. While other species fought petty wars, we built the tools necessary to defend civilization itself. You deceived us," accused the Thraxian representative. "Your agricultural worlds were military constructions." "Yes," Han replied without shame. "We grew real food to maintain the deception while building humanity's true defensive fleet underneath." Dr. Lim turned to Admiral Cha with an expression of amazement. "Sir, we're receiving sensor data from across human space. Every converted world is reporting full operational status." "Excellent. How many enemy fleets have been detected?" 47 separate groups ranging from 20 to over 300 ships each. They're moving toward all major population centers simultaneously. Cha studied the tactical display showing the enormous scale of the invasion. Thousands of ancient machines were emerging from dark space, targeting every inhabited system in the galaxy. It was exactly what the buried records had predicted. "Deploy all units according to Defense Plan Omega," he ordered. "Each planet ship will engage the nearest enemy formation." "Sir," interrupted Captain Song, "Earth is receiving a direct challenge from the largest enemy group. They're heading straight for our solar system." "How many ships?" "Over 500, including 3 of the supermassive class we haven't seen before." Cha felt a moment of fear, then pushed it aside. Earth had been converted more extensively than any other world. If humanity's homeworld couldn't survive this battle, none of them would. All stations prepare for combat. This is what we trained for. Deep within Earth's converted core, fusion reactors that had been dormant for years roared to life. Energy flowed through systems designed to power a mobile world. Weapon systems that could crack continents charged to full power. "Movement systems online," reported the engineering officer. "Earth is ready for interplanetary combat." For the first time in its history, Earth began to move under its own power. Massive engines hidden beneath the ocean floors pushed against space itself, accelerating the planet toward the approaching enemy fleet. "Admiral," called Dr. Lim, "we're receiving transmissions from galactic governments. They're demanding to know why humanity hid this capability." "Tell them the truth," Cha replied. "We discovered records of the last Devourer invasion. Every advanced civilization was consumed because they weren't prepared for enemies this powerful. We refuse to let that happen again." On the main screen, telemetry from other planet ships showed the scope of the battle developing across the galaxy. Ross 128b was engaging a large enemy force near the Vega colonies. Kepler 442b had intercepted machines heading for the Thraxian homeworld. Each converted world fought desperately to protect civilizations that had never suspected humanity's true strength. "Contact with enemy fleet," announced the sensor operator. "Range, 10 million kilometers and closing." Through enhanced sensors, they could see the Devourer ships clearly. Each one was a geometric nightmare of dark metal and incomprehensible technology. The largest vessels were over 300 kilometers across, dwarfing even Earth's continental weapon platforms. "Sir," whispered Captain Song, "there are so many of them." "Yes," Cha agreed, "but they've never faced anything like us before." The enemy fleet approached in perfect formation, their dark hulls absorbing all sensor beams. No communications came from them. They had one purpose: consumption of all organized matter. "All weapons ready," reported the tactical officer. "Primary guns charged to maximum power." Fire. Earth's surface erupted with light as hundreds of weapon emplacements discharged simultaneously. Energy beams powerful enough to vaporize asteroids lanced across space, converging on the nearest enemy ships. The ancient machines absorbed the hits, their surfaces glowing briefly before returning to normal. But this time, humanity was ready for their resistance. "Maintain fire," ordered Cha. "Concentrate on individual targets until destruction is confirmed." "Sir, the enemy is returning fire." Dark energy beams struck Earth's armor plating, each hit releasing the force of nuclear weapons. The planet's surface shook as ancient technology met human engineering. "Damage report." "Armor holding. Some surface installations damaged, but all primary systems operational." The battle continued for hours as Earth and the enemy fleet exchanged devastating attacks. Human weapons slowly wore down the ancient machines while Devourer beams tested Earth's defenses. Enemy vessel destroyed, called the tactical officer as one of the smaller machines broke apart under concentrated fire. Target the next largest ship, Cha ordered. One by one, humanity's weapons began taking their toll. The Devourers were powerful, but they had been built millions of years ago. Human technology designed specifically to fight this enemy proved superior in sustained combat. Admiral, reported Dr. Lim, we're receiving success reports from other sectors. Our planet ships are winning their battles. Cha allowed himself a moment of hope. Humanity's desperate gamble was working. 20 years of secret construction and preparation were paying off. Sir, called the communications officer. Message from the Galactic Council. They're requesting immediate military assistance. Tell them help is already on the way, Cha replied. Every human world is fighting to protect galactic civilization. As the battle raged around Earth, the galaxy finally understood what humanity had really been doing all these years. The quiet species that everyone had dismissed as irrelevant farmers had built the most powerful military force in known space, and they were using it to save everyone who had ever looked down on them. The sleeping giants were fully awake now, and the galaxy would never be the same.